Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to solve one university problem related with the IR filter. Okay, so already we discussed nearly the 10 problem using the impulse invariant method as well as the bilinear transformation. Okay, so now we are going to discuss about impulse invariant method Butterworth filter. Okay, so you see the question: design a digital Butterworth filter using impulse invariant method that satisfying the following constraint. H of modulus of h of e power j omega is in between zero point 0.8 to 1 for the frequency omega between 0 to 0.2 pi, and h of e power j omega is less than or equal to 0.2 for the omega between 0.6 pi to pi. Okay, so it's a November December 2011 question. Okay, so already we solved in digital Butterworth filter we solved the 4 problem, but in this method we are not at all solved. Okay, so we solved if the h of s. So you see the questions, the first question we solved in the impulse invariant method is if h of s is directly given means how to solve. Okay, so you see the h of s is directly given, h of s equal to 2 by s plus 1 s plus 2 given means how to solve. So in the that is we have to factorize and we have to find the poles and that partial fraction coefficient and we have to convert it. And the second problem we solved, this is a November 2016 question: design third order Butterworth filter. So the order is given. Okay, so directly we taken that h of s and we solved. Okay, so and the third problem, so it's a here also the h of s is directly given using impulse invariant method we are converting. So this three problem is related only. Similarly, the fourth problem also h of s is directly given. Okay, so before that we solved the four problems. H of s is directly given. This the analog transfer function is given. Then we done only the one step in impulse invariant method. We are factorizing the given h of s in partial fraction method and we are calculating the poles and partial fraction coefficient and we are converting into h of z. Okay, but here from starting itself we are going to do. So for this digital filter specification, we are going to design the Butterworth, the digital Butterworth filter using impulse invariant method. Okay, so already similar to this problem we solved in bilinear method, but in impulse invariant method what is the difference we are going to see. Okay, so first one we have to note down the given data. What are all the data? What is this 0.8? This 0.8 is nothing but 1 by square root of 1 plus epsilon squared. Okay, similarly this 0.2 is nothing but 1 by square root of 1 plus lambda squared. And this 0.2 pi is said to be pass band frequency omega p. And then this 0.6 pi is said to be stop band frequency omega s. Okay, so the four data given: 1 by square root of 1 plus epsilon squared, 1 by square root of 1 plus lambda squared, omega s, omega p. Okay, so what is the first step? So first step, using this 1 by square root of 1 plus lambda squared and epsilon squared, we have to find out the value of epsilon and lambda. Okay, so already you know the procedure. So in order to find out this epsilon, first you take square on both sides, then we have to take reciprocal. So 1 plus epsilon squared is equal to 1.5625. Then epsilon squared equal to, we have to subtract minus 1 with this term. Then you take square root, so we can get epsilon equal to 0.75. Okay, similarly from this 1 plus 1 by square root of 1 plus lambda squared is equal to 0.2. From this we have to find out the value of lambda. So you just take reciprocal on both sides, then you take square. Then if you are rearranging, we can get lambda equal to 4.8989. Okay, so epsilon and lambda we calculated. Then the next one, here the digital pass band frequency and the stop band frequency is given. Okay, W omega p and W omega s is given. So from using from the digital frequency, we have to convert into analog frequency. Okay, analog pass band frequency, this omega p, and analog stop band frequency we have to find out. Okay, so in bilinear transformation, so we are having, in order to find out this analog pass band and stop band frequency, we have to use the formula, pre-warping analog frequency formula, omega p equal to 2 by t tan of omega p by 2. Okay, so we have to use that formula. But in impulse invariant method, in order to find out the analog frequency, we have to use this relation. Okay, so you see the analog frequency is nothing but the digital frequency divided by t, or otherwise the digital frequency is equal to analog frequency into t. Okay, so in impulse invariant method, there is a linear relation between the digital frequency and analog frequency. Okay, so from that, the analog frequency is calculated by the digital frequency divided by t. Okay, so in our problem, what is the t given? 1 second. What is the omega p? The digital frequency is 0.2 pi. Okay, so this step is the difference in bilinear transformation and this impulse invariant method. Okay, so in bilinear transformation, we have to use the pre-warping analog frequency formula omega p equal to 2 by t turn omega p by 2. Okay, so better if you are solving this problem in impulse invariant method means the relation between analog and digital frequency, we have to use this relation. Okay, so this is the difference between the two methods. Okay, similarly, the stop band analog frequency is equal to omega s divided by t. So we can get 0.65. So same only here. If t equal to 1 means the analog frequency and the digital frequency both are same. Okay, if t will be different means we can get the different analog frequency. Okay, so this is the first and foremost step you just remember. Okay, then the next step already you know. So the next step is to we have to design the Butterworth filter. So for Butterworth filter already you know the procedure. What is the step? We have to find order of the filter. Okay, so what is the formula in order to find the order of the filter? Ns greater than or equal to log of lambda by epsilon divided by log of omega s by omega p. Okay, so you know all values. Lambda we calculated 4.898, epsilon 0.75, omega s, omega p just now calculated 0.65, 0.25. So you substitute, you find the answer 1.71. Okay, so then what is the next step? We have to round off the n value to the next highest integer. So 1.71 is rounded to n equal to 2. So our given specification is a second order filter. Okay, so this is the Butterworth. So you know from the we are having one standard table for the normalized Butterworth filter transfer function is available in that table. So from that table for n equal to 2, you know the transfer function of our second order Butterworth filter is 1 by s squared plus root 2s plus 1. Okay, so already you know this is the second order Butterworth filter transfer function. Okay, for the cutoff frequency omega c equal to 1 radian. Okay, that is said to be the normalized Butterworth filter. Okay, so what is the next step? We have to calculate the cutoff frequency. So the cutoff frequency formula already you know the cutoff frequency omega c equal to omega p divided by epsilon to the power 1 by n. Okay, since why we are using this formula means here epsilon we know. Okay, so substitute the omega p value 0.2 pi divided by what is epsilon? Epsilon is 0.75 to the power 1 divided by n is 2. Okay, so if you are calculating, we can get the answer is 0.231 pi radians per second. Okay, then next step is to in order to find that is the transfer function of our given specification Butterworth filter. In this normalized Butterworth filter transfer function, we have to substitute in the place of s, we have to substitute s by omega c. Okay, so here what's the value of omega c? 0.231 pi. Okay, so in h of s equation, okay, this is the normalized Butterworth filter transfer function. In this equation, you just substitute in the place of s, you just substitute s by omega c. Okay, so we can get 1 by s by 0.231 pi the whole square plus root 2 into s plus 1. Okay, so then you take LCM, we can get the equation as 0.5266 divided by s squared plus 1.03s plus 0.5266. Okay, so this is the analog transfer function of our Butterworth filter for the given specification. Okay, so we designed the analog Butterworth filter. So what is the next step? So next step, we have to convert this analog transfer function into digital using which method? Impulse invariant method. Okay, if it is a bilinear method, simply you substitute in the place of s, you just substitute 2 divided by t, 1 minus z inverse by 1 plus z inverse means, okay, if you are substituting s is equal to this value in h of s equation, we can get h of z. That is a bilinear transformation. Okay, but in this is the impulse invariant method. So impulse invariant method procedure we have to follow. So in impulse invariant method, so already you know, if the transfer function h of s, okay, so you see, if the analog transfer function h of s is equal to summation k equal to 1 to n ck by s minus pk. That is, if the transfer function is in the addition of single pole transfer function means, then the corresponding digital transfer function h of z is obtained by summation k equal to 1 to n ck by 1 minus e power pkt into z inverse. Okay, so that's why first we have to convert our h of s into this format, that is addition of single pole transfer function. Okay, so you see this is our h of s. Okay, this is our h of s. So in order to obtain this h of s as an addition of the single pole transfer function, first we have to factorize this denominator polynomial. So s squared plus 1.03s plus 0.5266, you just factorize. Okay, so using calci also you have to perform, or otherwise use the formula minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay, so you know, for second order quadratic equation, the roots formula you know, so using that you just find the roots. So we can split this denominator polynomial as s plus 0.5 plus j 0.51 into s plus 0.5 minus j 0.51. Okay, so here the two roots are complex conjugate root. Real part is same, imaginary part is that is, if one is plus, another one is minus. Okay, so you just factorize. So we can write h of s is like this. Okay, so then using partial fraction method, this h of s can be splitted as a by the first value plus b divided by the second root. You just write. Okay, so now our aim is to find out a and b value. So already you know the procedure. In order to find out the partial fraction coefficient, so a is nothing but how to calculate a? A is nothing but the value under a. So what is the value under a? S plus 0.5 plus j 0.51 multiplied with h of s. Okay, so what is the h of s? H of s is equal to this total function. You just write at the condition of s equal to p1. So p1 means the first pole. So what is the pole for this term? Minus 0.5 minus j 0.51. Okay, so minus 0.5 minus j 0.51. Okay, so here it's not 1.5. Okay, so 0.5. So then here this s and s cancel. Then in the place of s, okay, instead of this s, you just substitute minus 0.5 minus j 0.51, you substitute. So if you are calculating, we can get the answer is j 0.516. Okay, similarly the coefficient b is calculated by the value under b. So s plus 0.5 minus j 0.51 multiplied with the total h of s at the condition of s is equal to, what is the pole for the second one? Minus 0.5 plus j 0.51. Okay, so this is the second pole. Okay, so at the condition of the second pole. So similarly here, this term cancel. Then in the place of, instead of this yes, if you are substituting this value and you just calculate, so we can get the answer is minus j 0.516. Okay, so here the two poles are complex conjugate. That's why the partial fraction coefficient a, if you are calculating, means the b value is automatically the complex conjugate of a. Okay, so you see a is j 0.516, b is, what is the complex conjugate of this a? Minus j 0.516. Okay, we can get. Then we have to substitute this a and b value in the equation number 1. Okay, that is this partial fraction equation number 1. Okay, so we can write h of s as a value divided by that plus b into this. Okay, so now you see this equation is in the format of our impulse invariant. The h of s equal to summation Ck by S minus Pk. So you just compare this equation is in this structure. Okay. So in that, what is the value of n? N is, the order is 2. So that's why if you are expanding this equation, C1 by S minus P1 plus C2 by S minus P2. Okay. So from that, we have to find out the pole P1, second pole P2, C1 value and the C2 value you just write. Okay. So the first pole is minus 0.5 minus J 0.51. Second pole is minus 0.5 plus J 0.51. C1 and C2 is this one. Okay, so if this is the analog transfer function, means the corresponding digital transfer function is nothing but C1 by 1 minus e power P1 t Z inverse, where t equal to 1 second, plus C2 by this. Okay, so you just substitute. So C1 by 1 minus e power P1. What is P1? Minus 0.5 minus J 0.51 into T. T is 1 into Z inverse. Okay. Similarly, plus C2. What is C2? Minus 0.516 J by 1 minus e power minus 0.5 plus J 0.51 into Z inverse. Okay. Then you split this E power this into two things. E power minus 0.5, E power minus J 0.51. Similarly, you split this E power minus 0.5, E power J 0.51. Okay. Then you find the answer. This E power minus 0.5 and E power, so E power minus 0.5, you just find the answer in Calc, and E power minus J some value. Okay. So that can be, you can expand as e power j theta equal to cos theta plus j sin theta. Okay. Similarly, e power minus j theta equal to cos theta minus j sin theta. You just expand and you take LCM for this term. So finally, we can get the h of z is equal to 0.3019 z inverse by 1 minus 1.048 z inverse plus 0.36 z power minus 2. Okay, so before that, you just find this e power value, you substitute, then you take LCM. Okay, so if you are combining the two e power, means we can get either sine term or cos term. So you just find the answer in Calc and you just simplify, we can get the h of z is equal to this. Okay, so this is the transfer function of the second order digital Butterworth filter using impulse invariant method. Okay, so we can solve the same problem in bilinear transformation also. So what is the difference between impulse method and bilinear transformation? Means this last step, it will vary. Similarly, the first step. Okay, so there is a variation in this step number 1 and step number last step. Okay, if it is a bilinear transformation, in order to find the analog frequency omega p omega s, we have to use pre-warping analog frequency formula. Omega p equal to 2 by t turn omega p by 2. Omega s is 2 by t turn omega s by 2. You can use. Okay. If it is a impulse invariant method, in order to find out the analog frequency, you just use this formula, digital frequency divided by the time. Okay. So this step is different in bilinear transformation and impulse invariant method. Similarly, the last step. Okay, so the remaining steps are same. The last step, if it is a bilinear impulse invariant method, we have to write the analog transfer function as an addition of the single pole transfer function. So from that, we have to find out the pole 1, pole 2, pole 3, C1, C2, C3, etc. And we have to write in this format, means we can get digital. Okay, if it is a bilinear transformation, simply, okay, no need to take this partial fraction and so on. Okay, so from this h of s equation, okay, so this is the h of s, means, so in this h of s equation, instead of the variable s, you just substitute 2 by t, okay, so you just substitute 2 by t, 1 minus z inverse by 1 plus z inverse, you just substitute in the place of s, means, and if you are rearranging, means we can get the digital transfer function. Okay, so the first step and last step, it will vary in both impulse invariant method as well as the bilinear transformation method. Okay, so the analog frequency formula as well as The bilinear means bilinear procedure you just follow. If it is an impulse invariant, you just follow the partial fraction and you just find the coefficient and substitute it. Okay. So this is the difference between the two things. Okay. So nearly 10 problems are totally posted for 5 problem for impulse invariant method as well as the 5 to 6 problems for the bilinear transformation method. Okay. So the all this 10 problem is a university problems. Okay. So frequently asked question. You just learn all these videos. Okay. So in order to score a very good mark in this unit. Okay. So if you want to learn all lecture videos related with the subject digital signal processing or discrete time signal processing in my channel in the name of discrete time signal processing and digital signal processing, the playlist is there. Okay, in that playlist the videos, all videos are available in order you can learn. Okay, and in my channel for the subject signals and system, transmission lines and waveguides, antenna and microwave engineering, electronic circuits too. Okay, circuit analysis. So for that subject also the complete lecture videos are available. If you want to learn that subject means you can use, as well as the corresponding MCQ video also available. You can utilize it. Okay, I will give link for that playlist in the description box. You can refer it. Okay, so thank you. We will meet in the next video with one more university problem.